the Chicago River. That's AAMP.TV. Check them out, folks. Today's show is brought to you in part by Legal Shield, providing legal protection and peace of mind. Legal Shield can help with traffic tickets, texting and driving, DUIs, court appearances, estate planning, even contracts given to people they don't understand, plus a whole lot more. For more information, contact Legal Shield at 213-245-1305. That's 213-245-1305. Or visit them online for more information at nocourt.us. That's nocourt.us. And a big welcome in to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all of our friends over in Las Vegas, 97.9 FM, as well as everybody streaming on hotel television from coast to coast, YouTube, Facebook. By the way, make sure you hit subscribe, Twitter, and everywhere else across America. We are here in Chicago, and guess what? We have a very special guest right from the very top. We're going to let her introduce herself.
Hey, how you doing, Sal? This is Adrian Goodson. Such a pleasure to always be on your show. Great. I'm a former WNBA player. My name is Adrian Goodson, All-Star, Hall of Famer. Graduated from Old Dominion University as an All-American. Went to Bayonne High School right here in Bayonne, New Jersey. Came out highly decorated and played overseas in China, Spain, Brazil, where I'm a 5-time champion. And so, to keep it brief, thank you for having me on the show, Sal.
Listen, it's my pleasure. A big round of applause for Adrian Goodson. We'll call her Goody. That's kind of what she's known by. So we're just going to call you Goody from now on the Sports Circus. And everybody who's tuning in late, get over it. It's just that you're going to have to make sure you hit rewind, go back to the beginning of this segment, as well as all of our other shows. And guess what? You can also check out Goody on our page, The Sports Circus, because she is starting today as our official WNBA and women's sports analyst and insider. Big round of applause. Thanks for joining us. All right. Okay. All right. So, hey, listen, about the WNBA. What is the status of the WNBA today?
Wow. Just absolutely fantastic. I can't wait tonight the playoffs start. And so we have some great teams. You know, I played for the Utah Stars, and then the team went to San Antonio, and now they are the Las Vegas Aces. Las Vegas Aces they've come on in such a way. I'm so proud of them, proud of what Bill has done with them. And I'm so happy that Las Vegas has taken them and embraced them and brought them out there to Vegas. And if you live in Vegas, you can actually see the Aces jersey on the New York Liberty, the Statue of Liberty. And so I think it's just awesome, to see them in the bubble with, the Black Lives Movement and say her name, Breonna Taylor, just to name a few, and how they've used the platform as much as they can to create change in the world. Because a lot of times we talk about, change, but we have to be the change that we want to see. And so I'm just so proud of those girls and looking forward to seeing all of the heavy hitters and some of the newcomers that are out there right now. And so it's just a great platform to watch. We have so much basketball coming on tonight. I can't even remember all of the teams because we have the men and the women, and the women start at 6:30. The men come on at 7. Then there's a women's game on also that comes on at 9, and then there's a men's game. So it's kind of a conflict. That's okay with me because I have multiple TVs in the house, and so I'm just going to be clicking around and watching the Aces and watching, Miami and watching all of those teams. It's going to be awesome.
Back in the day, before we had these really fancy TVs, I used to have a roommate, and his name was Brian. This a long, long time ago, back when they had rabbit ears on the TVs. And so my roommate Brian and I could never agree on what to watch on TV. So he had a giant TV, one of those old big picture tube ones, and I didn't like what he was watching. So I would put my TV right on top of his. So you kind of felt like walking through Sears, watching a bunch of TVs at one time. And that's how we did. We didn't do picture in picture because they didn't have it. So we actually have one TV stacked on top of the other. Nowadays, you don't have to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I have televisions by default in here. It's just amazing. I don't know how I ended up with two TVs behind me, one to the right, one in the kitchen. My parents have a television. Then I have I have my laptops, and so there's just a lot of devices in here. And thanks to COVID, now I was never an online shopper, so I guess everybody's
Uh,
has fallen victim to that.
well, I have to say that most of my shopping has been done in person. I'm not scared to walk into the stores and do what I got to do. And they say, well, put your mask on. I have to tell you, I'm the guy. I don't want to put my mask on for a million reasons, but it doesn't matter right here today. We don't want to divide our audience, say, well, he doesn't want to do this, so we don't want to listen to him. But what I will say is that I believe consumers have had confidence in buying products, whether online or in stores. And you're seeing it at pick your favorite retail outlet, big box store, it doesn't matter. But guess what? You know what I don't see? I don't see WNBA jerseys in these stores. Why is that?
Good question. And I hope that, COVID has been a blessing and a curse, but it's been a blessing for the WNBA because now people are more aware of the products. And so with the Say Her Name and then the orange hoodies and everything that's been surrounding social justice, it's pushed those things forward. And so now there's a situation where I can go outside and I can see somebody walking around with a WNBA hoodie on. Say, hey, Goody, how you doing? Look, I'm representing now. And so
Yes.
it's unfortunate that we're in these times and we have to deal with watching people perish all around us at this moment. But as things go on from day to day, there's more and more recognition. When I pick up my phone in the morning, of course, after I say my prayer, I pick up the phone and I go to Yahoo and I'm on Google. It pops right up. What's going on in the WNBA? Now, a year ago, that wasn't in existence. 2 years ago,
Right.
that wasn't in existence. We're not even going to talk about 5 to 10 years ago. So now with this situation, it's just like we've been driven to the forefront, and it's helping us break through that glass ceiling, Sal.
You know what I don't understand is a lot of these teams, or most of them, are owned by NBA franchises. And you would imagine that there would be some semblance of pay. Now, you and I have talked about this at length previously. We've even done this on a previous show many years ago. I think of maybe a year or so ago. Anyway, my point is this. If the NBA owns the women's teams, or if most of the franchises are owned by the NBA teams, kind of like the parent company, whatever, why is it that there is such a disparity even on the base pay level? And I know that the WNBA had some kind of an increase, whatever, but it's not even close to what the NBA's base number looks like. And there is a problem. There is a very deep-rooted problem because the women's game is a lot more clean. It's not about slam dunk, throw the ball down. No, it's about fundamental basketball. And again, folks, if you have never seen a WNBA team, watch some of those games. I'll tell you, you see basketball in the way that it's supposed to be played in. Oh, by the way, the WNBA is a league loaded with players that are also college graduates. Unlike the one and dones from the NBA. What do you have to say about that, Goody?
I mean, that's an awesome testimony. As children, all our parents want is for us to get a good education. Some people have different circumstances, so I can't sit here and say, if there was a deal for $1 million that was waiting for me on the other side, I don't know if I would take it or not. So I can't sit here and say, okay, those guys are leaving school. Everyone's circumstances are different. I was fortunate enough to be in a household where I have my mom and she remarried, I have my stepdad. So that was the difference for me. However, what people don't understand is there's a misunderstanding of cross-cultural management in, the NBA. And what I mean by that is, and I'm going to use the Spurs as an example because they're great. The nature of the problem was in the 2011 lockdown. Okay, it was a direct misconception of the black male and whether he was competent enough to do the job well. So there was the lack of salaries as far as coaching and upper management was concerned, and that was the position throughout the league. They locked out because of those things. The nature of the problem is that most people don't know the plight of the African American athlete. And so, in fact, there's no other group in American societies that have endured the indignities and abuse that have been heaped upon the African American. And so oftentimes, those people that are in power and are decision makers, they have no knowledge of politics and social issues.
Okay, hold that thought. Adrian Goodson, we're going to be back with you here on the Sports Circus in just a few moments. I'm here in downtown Chicago. She's over in Jersey. We're going to be back here in just a few minutes, folks. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come.
Do you have any questions about legal issues? Have you ever been stopped by a police officer and issued a ticket that you're scared to deal with? Have you ever been in trouble with the law and don't know what to do? Do you have a will or power of attorney question? Is your home being foreclosed upon and you don't know where to turn? Maybe you were given a contract that you don't understand. For freedom and a worry-free solution, call for Legal Shield today at 213-245-1305. It's that simple. You will have access to high-quality law firms that will fight for you for less than $1 a day. Peace of mind is just a call away. That's for Legal Shield. Call 213-245-1305 or visit us at nocourt.us. It's justice for all and not justice for some. Are you a small business owner or pursuing the dream of starting your own company? Do you know where to start or how to grow that existing business? The American Business Trust Company has the answers you need. The American Business Trust Company can help you with startup capital, business strategy, sales and marketing, and establishing your company with a physical location or on the internet. You decide. You bring the idea, the American Business Trust Company can help with the rest. For a free evaluation, you may visit them online at abtrustco.com. That's abtrustco.com or call them at 657-600-1876. That's the American Business Trust Company, 657-600-1876. Call them today. They can help your business right away. This is Sal Tozzolino, host and remaster of the Sports Circus. Why listen to the same old dog and pony show that you've heard all day long? The Sports Circus covers everything that other shows don't or are too scared to cover. There's no primetime show like it out here that'll punch you in the mouth and you'll beg for more. You can call in and participate with our chaos if you dare. Join me and celebrity guests for Havoc and Mayhem weekdays at 5 p.m. Pacific here on AAMP.TV or stream the show live at thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
In times of economic uncertainty and chaos, your money means nothing. You may not even be able to get it from your bank or ATM. And the money you do have in the stock market will go down and down. What you can bank on is gold and silver. Gold and silver have been a reliable and trusted form of currency for thousands of years. Gold and silver have never been worth zero, and typically gold holds its value during economic turmoil. Call the Gold Hotline now and learn how to protect your money and your assets with gold and silver. And learn how to set up a new IRA or roll over your current one into a gold-backed IRA. Protect your money from the next market crash with gold and silver. Call now for your free gold guide.
800-755-4281. 800-755-4281. 800-755-4281. That's 800-755-4281.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from the AAMP.TV mobile studio here in downtown Chicago, right here on the Riverwalk. Folks, make sure you check out AAMP.TV. Just Google AAMP.TV. That's AAMP.TV. A big round of applause for AAMP.TV. This segment also brought to you in part by Cali Vegas, helping people create and host their very own radio, TV, and multimedia talk shows. Cali Vegas can help with everything they need to get out of sitting in hours of traffic or sitting at home and trying to reinvent themselves, and have their very own talk show in their very own home studio. For more information, contact Cali Vegas at 949-445-1119. That's 949-445-1119. Again, 949-445-1119. Or visit them online for more information at calivegas.com. That's CALI Vegas.com. And welcome back to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast, including our friends over in Honolulu on CBS Sports 1500 KHKA, all the way to our friends in Los Angeles, KCAA, as well as Corpus Christi, Texas, all the way down to the Mexican border and on the Houston Astros and the Houston Rockets and Texans radio network, KSIX. CBS 95.1, 96.1, and 1230 AM. Big hello to our friends over in Atlanta, WDJY 99.1 FM, and as well as our friends over in Boston on WBNW. All right. Here we are back with Adrienne Goodson. You're going to call her Goody. And Goody is our WNBA analyst and insider, also handles women's sports outside of basketball. Got the big smile, the big earrings, and she's ready to go. All right, so Goody, let's shift out of basketball and let's talk about what else is going on in women's sports today that the masses need to be paying attention to. What are your thoughts on that? Just off the cuff, I'm throwing you a curveball because I can.
No, it's all good. You can throw me a curveball. I mean, I love women's sports. You know, I love it. There's football, there's hockey, there's tennis. You know, we're just winning all over the place, and I just love it how now people are paying more attention to women's sports, you know, because of COVID and things that you didn't have the opportunity to pay attention to before because we're all working and we're 9 to 5 and hustle and bustle. We got the kids. We're trying to, take care of our lives every single day, and we get that taken away from us. And then there's television, and then there's the internet, and you find yourself looking at things you didn't normally gravitate to. And so with, so many things out here, everybody's looking for something different. So, oh, hey, maybe I'll watch it. Maybe check with stuff. You love to talk about Old Dominion and then to the line. Doing all ways where on. I guess some stuff.
Yeah. Got to do it.
I lost.
Yeah.
4281.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from the AAMP.TV mobile studio here in downtown Chicago, AAMP.TV. This segment brought to you in part by Kelly Vegas, helping people create and host their very own radio, TV, or multimedia talk show. Kelly Vegas can help with everything they need to get out of sitting on hours of traffic every day and host their very own talk show in their very own home studio. For more information, contact Kelly Vegas at 949-445-1119. That's 949-445-1119. Or visit them online at kellyvegas.com. That's CALI Vegas.com. And a big welcome back to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and those also watching on Hotel TV in 650,000 rooms from coast to coast, as well as on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. And also a big hello to everybody over in Atlanta, WDJY 99.1 FM. Down in the greater Houston market, Corpus Christi, Texas. That'd be CBS Sports KSIX, home of the Houston Astros, Rockets, and the Houston Texans. Big hello to our friends over in Los Angeles, KCAA, as well as Honolulu, CBS Sports 1500 KHKA. And a big hello to our friends all the way up in Boston on WBNW. And, of course, over in Las Vegas, KIOF 97.9 FM. Everybody else streaming at the Circus, back here with Adrienne Goodson. You can call her Goody. She is our WNBA and women's sports analyst. Now, just starting with us, welcome back to the show, Adrienne.
I'll tell you what, this technology here, but it's all good with it. You know, I love you, Sal, putting up with me. But I tell you, I love the opportunity that you're giving me to be over here on this platform, WNBA, you know, discussing the league and discussing all of the hotness that's going on with it inside of the wubble, not the bubble. We call it the wubble. You know, girls always have to give it our little special twist to it. So I'm really looking forward to tonight. Sal, we got 4 games going on tonight. I tell you, with 8 different teams going on, and I'm just so happy and loving it. We got the women's side, the men's side. I'm looking forward to watching the Aces play. That's my team. You know, we came all the way from Utah, went to San Antonio, and now they're up there in Vegas, and the jersey is hanging crystal clear on the Statue of Liberty over there. So it's just awesome to see right now. I'm excited. You know, I'm excited to see Miami playing tonight. I'm excited to see the Aces play tonight. Looking forward to seeing if Sue Bird is going to play because her knee has been bothering her with Seattle.
Right.
Minnesota is just really playing fantastic basketball right now. Cheryl Reeves starting off with, you know, not having all of her players. And so it's just been an awesome season, awesome to watch. I've not really been a television watcher, but, you know, now due to COVID and everything like that, that's the way that it is. So I'm going to be clicking those channels tonight, going back and forth.
Yeah, speaking of Sue Bird, we actually had her coach on. We had Dan Hughes on. Boy, Dan's a great guy. You know Dan. I'm sure everybody knows Dan, right?
Yes, he's just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, a really good guy. And, I didn't think Sue was going to be playing this year. I thought her injury was going to keep her out the entire season.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, it's just kind of like Nike. One more. You know, she thinks that she still has it. You know, it's been good for the game, too, to see her face and to give her a send-off like we gave Tamika Catchings a send-off. You know, those are types of players that deserve to be sent off, right? And so, you know, it's good for the game. And so whether she plays or not, it's like I said, it's good for the game. She can be on the sideline. She does commentating, and watching her transition into the next phase of her life has been nice.
She certainly could have played in the NBA. That's how I feel about it.
What team will you have on, Sal?
I would put her on my hometown Chicago Bulls. I would put her there because, you know what, they need a versatile player like her.
Chicago Bulls, huh? Okay.
I wouldn't give her 23, though. Maybe we'll give her 22.
Give her what? Give her number 22. That's what you said?
We'll put number 22 on her, not 23.
Okay. All right, then. Yeah, so then she doesn't have so much pressure, to live up to that number 23. She can make her own statement.
Yeah. Yeah, right here in Chicago, I tell you what, that 23 is synonymous with greatness. And I remember when Mike was playing, when he first came to Chicago, I was born and raised in Chicago, and it was a very different time. Nobody had ever seen somebody in a Bulls uniform do what he did. The closest we had to that was probably Orlando Woolridge, which played on the same team. Orlando was a high-flying player. I mean, he was no Dr. J, but Orlando was pretty darn good. But I have to say that when Mike came to the team, the first time I saw him play, it was in 1987, and he was playing against the Washington Bullets. I happened to get some great seats. I was about 10 rows off the floor, and I had never seen a guy with aerial acrobatics, whatever. This guy had the amazing basketball kung fu that I'd never seen in my life.
I tell you what, it was absolutely great to see and absolutely great to witness. Anybody who got the opportunity to see Michael Jordan play, they can walk around with that shirt that says "I'm a witness," because the things that he's done for basketball, for the sport, and for the community has been fantastic. And Michael Jordan's not one of those players that's going to give up $1 million and tell everybody about it. He'll give up $1 million and keep it quiet. He's humble about it. And so you don't hear about him as much. But he does. He has the things that he does in the communities. And I'm sure that he does quite a few things and has probably donated quite a bit of money there in Chicago to some different programs that we probably have never heard of and probably never will, because that's just the way he does.
I take it back a little bit further to a guy like Pistol Pete Maravich with the unbelievable passing, the crazy pass. And, then we saw like the next coming of Pete Maravich, I think, in Magic Johnson. I would say that would be an excellent parallel, but I still haven't found a parallel to Michael Jordan because I don't think there is one. I don't think we're going to see one for a long, long time. And look, whether it's James with that big 6'9" frame playing that position, it's a very different game to watch him because, Mike was the best player on offense, but also the best player on defense too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know what? The difference between now and then is back in the day, those players took pride in their defense and they wanted to be all-stars on both sides of the court, on the offensive end and on the defensive end. You look at Jordan, he was all offense, all defense. Pippen, all offense, all defense. Larry Bird, all offense, all defense. Magic Johnson, all offense, all defense. I can't forget Isaiah Thomas, all offense, all defense. Gary Payton was the glove. He prided himself on just ripping people when they came across half court. And he was also going to give you 20 on the other side. So that's the difference between the players now, is that they take a lot more pride in their defense. But you do see that there's some players that are coming along, like Kawhi Leonard. He takes pride in his defense. I love him. Yeah. And I also like watching Marcus Smart. I think Marcus Smart is just absolutely fantastic on defense. And he's like the example of how they should begin to play defense in the league. And if that starts to catch fire, it's going to be fantastic to watch, because I think that people also want to see people's greatness on the other end, like Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, well, it's funny you mentioned that, because I was going to say, in my opinion, you were kind of like the Dennis Rodman of the WNBA. When you played, you owned those boards, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I look back now, I get the opportunity to, really do a lot of research. And I'm always a humble person. I don't, you could ask me to talk about myself, but I always had an agent to do that or people around me to do that. But now I look at myself and I'm going like, wow, oh my goodness, I was in my position #1 in the world in rebounding, which was a fantastic testimony to all of the coaches that I had, especially Marianne Stanley, who is now the head coach for the Indiana Fever. She was assistant coach for quite some time with the Washington Mystics. They won the championship, and it was a great opportunity for her to showcase herself. And I'm having a conversation with her on the phone, and she's like, oh my goodness. She's like, I get the opportunity to have a team and be a head coach, and now look at this, I got to do it in the wubble. I said, listen, you're that coach who got us to play a junk defense, which we didn't understand, had no idea what junk was. We won a national championship in 1985 at Old Dominion with a defense called junk. None of us knew what we were doing, but we bought into her philosophy. She said, just do it, and everything at the end of the day is going to work out fine. So we all came together and we did what we had to do. And then at the end, we were chanting the ring because that's what we had done on the stage. And so, that same person is going into the wobble. You get those kids to believe in your philosophy and all is going to be great. It was great watching her. They didn't have a great season, wins and losses, but I tell you what, those girls were playing over there in Indiana. I love the product that they put out there and where they're heading.
I love the fact of the fundamental game that the women bring to the table. I mentioned in the first segment. Listen, we're running up on time. Tell everybody about your podcast. Take about 30 seconds. Tell everybody about your podcast, how they can follow you, all your social, whatever.
Yes, my podcast is every Sunday. I do it on Facebook Live. It's called Sunday Brunch, and it's basically some WNBA players sitting around talking about the league, talking about the games, talking about different issues, player development. Just stirring it up. Also having guests come on. I have NBA players, WNBA players, executives, any types of mentors come on to the show and, just sit down and talk at the round table. I'm on Anchor FM on the podcast. You can download it. It's on most podcasts. It's on Google Podcasts. You can catch it on Apple, also on Spotify. And as far as all of my handles, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, Instagram. You can find me, Adrian Goodson, as well as LinkedIn and on YouTube. It's just Adrian Goodson.
All right. Fantastic, folks. Adrian Goodson is our WNBA analyst and insider. We're going to have her back on a regular basis. Make sure you tune into her podcast and check her out on social media. We're going to be back here on the Sports Circus in just a few minutes with our high school prep report with Eli, the Dream Crusher Thompson. I know he's going to want to talk a little bit about his Indianapolis Colts, and we'll go ahead and have a laugh at that. And we'll see you in just a few minutes, folks. Don't go anywhere.
Do you have any questions about legal issues? Have you ever been stopped by a police officer and issued a ticket that you're scared to deal with? Have you ever been in trouble with the law and don't know what to do? Do you have a will or power of attorney question? Is your home being foreclosed upon and you don't know where to turn? Maybe you were given a contract that you don't understand. For freedom and a worry-free solution, call for Legal Shield today at 213-245-1305. It's that simple. You will have access to high-quality law firms that will fight for you for less than $1 a day. Peace of mind is just a call away. That's for Legal Shield. Call 213-245-1305 or visit us at nocourt.us. It's justice for all and not justice for some. Are you a small business owner or pursuing the dream of starting your own company? Do you know where to start or how to grow that existing business? The American Business Trust Company has the answers you need. The American Business Trust Company can help you with startup capital, business strategy, sales and marketing, and establishing your company with a physical location or on the internet. You decide. You bring the idea, the American Business Trust Company can help with the rest. For a free evaluation, you may visit them online at abtrustco.com. That's abtrustco.com or call them at 657-600-1876. That's the American Business Trust Company, 657-600-1876. Call them today. They can help your business right away. This is Sal Tuzolino, host and remaster of the Sports Circus. Why listen to the same old dog and pony show that you've heard all day long? The Sports Circus covers everything that other shows don't or are too scared to cover. There's no primetime show like it out here that'll punch you in the mouth and you'll beg for more. You can call in and participate with our chaos if you dare. Join me and celebrity guests for Havoc and Mayhem weekdays at 5 p.m. Pacific here on AAMP.TV or stream the show live at thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
In times of economic uncertainty and chaos, your money means nothing. You may not even be able to get it from your bank or ATM. And the money you do have in the stock market will go down and down. What you can bank on is gold and silver. Gold and silver have been a reliable and trusted form of currency for thousands of years. Gold and silver have never been worth zero, and typically gold holds its value during economic turmoil. Call the Gold Hotline now and learn how to protect your money and your assets with gold and silver. And learn how to set up a new IRA or roll over your current one into a gold-backed IRA. Protect your money from the next market crash with gold and silver. Call now for your free gold guide.
800-755-4281. 800-755-4281. 800-755-4281. That's 800-755-4281.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from the AAMP.TV mobile studio here in front of the Riverwalk in downtown Chicago. This segment brought to you in part by the American Business Trust Company, helping companies with strategy, sales and marketing, capital resources, and establishing new companies with physical locations or on the internet. For more information, contact them online at abtrustco.com. That's abtrustco.com, abtrustco.com. Or contact them at 657-600-1876. That's 657-600-1876, the American Business Trust Company. And a big welcome to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast. Those, of course, in Las Vegas, a special welcome. That is, Las Vegas is our home base. That would be Magic 97.9 FM, folks. If you're listening on AAMP.TV, you can also listen locally at 97.9, as well as all of our other stations from coast to coast. And a big hello to all of our friends waving us to us at the other side of the bubble here. You can't see us, but we can see you. It's kind of like Romper Room. I think I see Eli. I think I see Jackie in front of her favorite building. I see Darren. I see Dennis. And folks, it's always a laugh a minute. Oh, also, I see all of our friends watching us on YouTube. Thanks for joining us, and make sure you subscribe. Here with Eli the Dream Crusher Thompson. And Eli does our high school prep report. But I do want to preface this just for a moment and say, I know his Indianapolis Colts could certainly do better than what they showed. But then again, they have a quarterback that likes to play about 58 minutes a game. And of course, a late game interception is what defines the guy by the name of Phillip Rivers. That's just what he does, folks. Touchdown, two interceptions, bunch of stats,
so let's look at the game for a second. Colts come out.
Sure you want
fast.
to look at it again?
They score, they get up 7-0. Marlon Mack gets hurt. And so the play calling really shifted to the end later in the game to try to put it in Rivers' hands and throw the ball more. And so the offense
that's why they pay him the big
not
bucks.
Going to play well that way. Frank Reich needs to call better plays and try to run the ball, and then
Frank needs to throw the ball
short.
Too. Frank needs to suit up and throw the ball
short with Phillip Rivers. The Colts, they got around 500 yards, and the Jaguars didn't even get 300 yards. You miss 30-yard field goals. You go for it on fourth down inside the 5-yard lines. Then you should expect to lose. And you try to throw it 50 times with Phillip Rivers.
I love this. I mean, look, Phillip Rivers is great for stats in fantasy football. Sonar and I, we talk about this on a regular basis. If we need a guy to stack up some points, Phillip Rivers is the guy. But only if you could just play him for 58 minutes a game, then the guy would be a Hall of Famer. He doesn't belong in the Hall. Too many interceptions and too many blown games, too many INTs at the end of the game. He is absolutely known for it. And thank God the Chargers got rid of him. So LA is in a much, much happier place.
Okay, thinking about LA for a second.
I tell you that the Colts
remember when I was on the sports
the
angle.
Colts lost the game. Hold on, Eli. Eli, hold on. Since the Colts lost the game, that's the only thing that matters. It has nothing to do with excuses about what Phillip Rivers could have done or blah, blah, blah. Come on now.
That's not how it works. Okay, let's go back a couple months.
Look at the big board. Look at the big board. That's exactly how it works.
Let's go back a couple months.
The standings say 0 wins, 1 loss for the Indianapolis Colts. And by the way, the standings say 1 win and 0 losses for the Cincinnati Bengals, or for the LA Chargers, in case you're keeping score.
A couple months ago, you and Rocco Kelly, I was on the sports angle. You said Joe Burrow was the next Andy Dalton. And watch how can you watch that game against the Chargers? They lost. Sure, they lost. But Burrow played a really good game. He came down there on the last drive. They scored a touchdown, wrong pass interference call, puts them back, and they missed a 31-yard field goal.
There's the opinion from the dissent, as always, because the referees are always wrong, aren't they?
Yeah.
But I seem to remember on the previous drive that the Cincinnati Bengals had an interception of an errant toss from Joe Burrow. Now, that's a rookie mistake, but Joe Burrow, he played very, very well, and I tip my hat to Joe. He did very well,
so
and he got his team in a position to win the game, and they didn't win it. We can't talk over each other, Eli. Eli, we can't talk over each other. I'll tell you this right now. We cannot talk over each other. The audience cannot hear us. Only one at a time. Go ahead.
So you were wrong. He wasn't Andy Dalton. Was he Andy Dalton? No. He didn't look like Andy Dalton. He didn't. So he wasn't Andy Dalton. He played a good game, and I expect them next week. I don't know who they're playing, but I expect them to play a good game and probably win the game. The Colts next week, they play the Vikings. I expect them to dominate the Vikings. I expect them to win that game. Next week, the Bengals played the Browns. I think the Bengals win that game.
Okay. Well, when it comes to prognostication, we'll have to watch Eli the Dream Crusher's wallet get crushed with these horrible picks. But ultimately, I just wanted to bring that up because the Colts may be a quality club, but let's face it, they brought a mistake machine over to the table in Phillip Rivers. That's what he does. I couldn't be happier as a Charger fan.
You know who I feel worse for? The Eagles. They lost to the Washington football team.
The nameless team.
With all the stuff that happened in the offseason, with Dan Snyder, all those scandals, Washington was the worst team in the NFL. And the Eagles went to the playoffs, and they got up 17-0, and they lost that game.
You know, the Detroit Lions lost a 17-0 lead or 17-point lead in the fourth quarter to mediocre Mitch. That'd be Mitch Trubisky, which is alarming to imagine that he's even the starting quarterback.
Here's one thing. So I've gone back and forth with my friends on Mitch Trubisky. I hear some of them call him Mitch Clutch Brisky. So that's going to be my new slogan for him, mediocre Mitch.
Yep.
Because that's what he is. If the Bears really want to get better, because the Lions were the better team on Sunday. If they want to get better, their defense is good. But on the offensive side of the ball, first of all, it stems from Mitch Trubisky. But they need to get better receivers and a better O-line. And I think they also need a new quarterback. I think they should start Nick Foles. But they need to get a new play caller.
I would agree.
Matt Nagy as head coach. First year, he did well, but he isn't a good enough play caller to call plays. Remember last year when they played the Chargers? So they had a 1st and goal. They tried to run a stretch play, didn't get it. Then they tried to run this run-out play with a wheel route from a slot receiver. Incomplete. They tried to run that same play on 3rd down. Incomplete. Tried to run that same play on 4th down. Pass interference. They did a new set of downs. Okay. They run a stretch play. Didn't get it. They run a slant. Incomplete. They tried that same wheel route. Incomplete. And they have to kick a field goal. You get 7 plays and you're at the 3-yard line and you can't score, and 4 of those plays were the same plays, that isn't going to get it done in the NFL. I mean, we came out with Matt Nagy in his first year and trick plays, all that stuff. But also, we're not in 6th grade football here. We're not in 6th grade football here where we're running jet sweeps and reverse passes. We're in the NFL. And also, Adam Gase, I don't think he's a good enough coach to even coach a 6th grade team, because that performance against the Bills was horrific.
Okay, look at this. Here's Eli, 13-year-old Eli, the Dream Crusher Thompson, by the way, folks, from right here in Chicago. So he's been with us since he was 12 years old, and he has all this spectacular memory. I wonder if his mom and dad say, you know, he remembers all these stats and these plays. Does he remember to eat his vegetables, clean his room and stuff like that? I don't know, but Eli has a lot of knowledge. He's also a quarterback, by the way, in middle school, and maybe next year in high school. You never know. He could be starting on a varsity squad. You never know. You never know. Eli, what do you think about the idea, real quick, in 30 seconds, of starting on a varsity team as a freshman?
Varsity team as a freshman. I mean, it's hard for any quarterback, especially in real competitive levels. Let's just be real here for a second.
No, let's be fake. It's okay.
I am the dream.
All right, I tell you what, Eli, hold that thought, because we're going to be back with you in just a few minutes here on the Sports Circus. It's a circus, folks. You never know what's going to happen. We prove it every day. It is a circus. Back here in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come.
Do you have any questions about legal issues? Have you ever been stopped by a police officer and issued a ticket that you're scared to deal with? Have you ever been in trouble with the law and don't know what to do? Do you have a will or power of attorney question? Is your home being foreclosed upon and you don't know where to turn? Maybe you were given a contract that you don't understand. For freedom and a worry-free solution, call for Legal Shield today at 213-245-1305. It's that simple. You will have access to high-quality law firms that will fight for you for less than $1 a day. Peace of mind is just a call away. That's for Legal Shield. Call 213-245-1305 or visit us at nocourt.us. It's justice for all and not justice for some. Are you a small business owner or pursuing the dream of starting your own company? Do you know where to start or how to grow that existing business? The American Business Trust Company has the answers you need. The American Business Trust Company can help you with startup capital, business strategy, sales and marketing, and establishing your company with a physical location or on the internet. You decide. You bring the idea, the American Business Trust Company can help with the rest. For a free evaluation, you may visit them online at abtrustco.com. That's abtrustco.com, or call them at 657-600-1876. That's the American Business Trust Company, 657-600-1876. Call them today. They can help your business right away. This is Sal Tozolino, host and remaster of the Sports Circus. Why listen to the same old dog and pony show that you've heard all day long? The Sports Circus covers everything that other shows don't or are too scared to cover. There's no primetime show like it out here that'll punch you in the mouth and you'll beg for more. You can call in and participate with our chaos if you dare. Join me and celebrity guests for Havoc and Mayhem weekdays at 5 p.m. Pacific here on AAMP.TV, or stream the show live at thesportcircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day. So, you want to be in show business. Do people tell you that you're really funny, you have a great personality, and you should have your own talk show? Many of us have been told that, but we don't know how to get started. It's easier than you think. Let the pros at Cali Vegas give you a free talent evaluation. Call 949-445-1119 and learn how quickly you can create, produce, and host your very own talk show. Imagine not having to sit in traffic every day, commuting back and forth to the same old boring job. Get started in television or radio today with your free talent evaluation from Cali Vegas. Call 949-445-1119 or visit them online at calivegas.com. Make your dream come true today and create your new career and learn how to become a television or radio star with the help of Cali Vegas. 949-445-1119. Call now.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from the AAMP.TV mobile studios here in downtown Chicago, right at the riverfront, right on the River Walk, that is. All right, a big welcome in to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast, as well as YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Also in hotel television and everywhere else on Facebook and Twitter. You name it, we're there. Thanks for joining us today. And we are here right now with Eli the Dream Crusher Thompson. He does our high school prep report. Eli, I want to ask you a question. Listen, I recently saw something on TV that I don't think I've seen in a long time. Now, there was a wild game-winning touchdown, including 10 laterals and 2 fumbles. Yes, all that was missing in the finish of last Friday night's game between Hillcrest and Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and Wetumpka was the Stanford band on the field. Trailing 30-28 at its own 41-yard line with 2.9 seconds remaining, Hillcrest won with a miracle touchdown that will no doubt be questioned by the team and the other sideline for years to come. Unofficially, the play included a completed forward pass, 10 laterals, a pair of fumbles, and that led to an eventual touchdown by Hillcrest quarterback Ethan Crawford, who began the entire sequence with a short completion. Those kind of plays are great. It kind of reminds me of Pee Wee football, Pop Warner football. What do you think about crazy plays that have 10 laterals and fumbles and chaos in there?
Remember when Miami played Duke?
That was wrong because that ball, the knee was down. Yeah. Don't even go there. The knee was down.
There were two bad calls there.
Yes.
There were 2 bad calls.
Boy, talk about hitting a nerve with me. That was wrong. Miami stole that game.
And I like that it was that competitive when Duke was a top 25 team and Miami just had an interim coach. Without that just out of the way there. Duke, what do we think about that game against Notre Dame? Again, nothing to talk about it. But those plays can be entertaining. It's fun to see one of those plays at the end of the game. I mean, even when those plays don't result in touchdowns, it's fun to see all the laterals. Even if they get to midfield, it's funny. It's fun to watch.
It's kind of like a game of rugby or Australian rules football. Yeah. Have you ever been involved in one of those plays?
No. Our gym teacher tried to teach us that in 5th grade. Couldn't play it. I so wanted to have many times try to throw the ball forward. Yeah, I mean, rugby is not one of the most entertaining sports. I mean, I think all of us would.
I think it is.
I mean, there was a video one time I saw that where, and it was talking about during quarantine, all of the sports we miss. The things that we miss, insanely long replay reviews. Okay. I mean, if you're
let me ask you this,
fan,
Eli, hold that thought for a moment, because as we move forward here, we're here on our last segment, as we move forward and we're not seeing high school football in some places, we're seeing college football in some places, we're seeing a spattering of selective markets that are playing, whether it's money driven, maybe the kids or the pro athletes just want to play, whatever it is. We're seeing so much selectivity. Now, in Chicagoland, for example, are we seeing high school football?
No, there is not. Right now, under the guidelines, high school football cannot be played. So it is grouped into 3 categories. So the higher risk sports are in 3, medium is in 2, lower risk sports are in 1. So the ones in 1 are baseball, track and field, sports like that. They can play. 2 can scrimmage, and 3 can only practice. So, some of the sports that are in 2 are soccer, 7-on-7 football, basketball, and then in 3 is tackle football, wrestling, sports like that.
Okay, so nationwide, have we seen any consistencies from state to state in high school sports? Because you do our high school prep report. Are we seeing any movement on a national level where we're going to see or high school football play across the board, maybe at some point during the fall? The reason I ask is, there's always those rankings, right? We have the same problem with the NCAA. We're not going to get into that right now. But I'd like to find out if there's going to be some level of consistency among high school sports from coast to coast, because we're just not seeing it in anything else except, well, technically in the major sports, right? We're seeing it in football, baseball, basketball, hockey on the pro level. But then we're also seeing selectivity where certain teams are allowing fans in the stands and certain teams are not. What do you make of all this, Eli? There just doesn't seem to be any consistency whatsoever in the message that's being sent from the health side and the money side. What are we really looking at here?
I mean, with the health side, there hasn't been a general consensus. For the most part, college football, for the most part, doctors have said it's not safe to play. But almost all doctors have said it's not safe to play high school football. Yet about 37 or 38 states decided to play high school football. Just a couple of weeks ago, Michigan's Governor Gretchen Whitmer changed her tune on playing high school football and high school sports, but they have to wear a mask during competition. And so these are some things that about 38 states are playing, but a lot of the states that are playing are states that have rising cases. Alabama and Florida are playing, but one of the states, Illinois, for the most part, it's almost under control in Illinois, and they're not playing. And so it depends on the state and really the governor of the state who makes the decisions and how conservative their approach to COVID is or not.
Okay, that's a fair statement. And I guess, to me, I look at it as, look, if we take professional sports, this really drives me crazy. We take professional sports and we say, okay, in football, we're going to allow fans in the stadiums and they play an outside venue. In baseball, we don't see, and we see the same outside venue, but we don't see fans in the seats. And now, of course, Rob Manfred, who has been in hot water basically since he's been around, well, we're thinking about allowing fans in. And here, this is the headline. According to the Four Letter Network, they say, not long ago, we learned that Major League Baseball was reportedly planning to operate 2 separate bubbles for the latter rounds of the 16-team 2020 postseason. Now, according to the Four Letter Network, here are those bubbles and locations for the expanded playoffs. They would have Arlington, Texas, Minute Maid Park for the National League Division Series. In the American League, it'll be Petco Park in San Diego and Dodger Stadium. In the National League Championship Series, it'll be back in Arlington, Texas. And then in the league championship for the American, it will be down in San Diego at Petco Park. In the World Series down in Texas and Arlington. I guess that's the only way they can get a World Series trophy in the building. But as expected, the World Series will be held in the Rangers' new ballpark, and the bubbles are such that no team will play at home after the first rounds. In the best-of-3 wild card, the higher seed will host the games as its home ballpark. Now, the four-letter network story also included the tentative start dates for those latter rounds. Now, the plan is still being approved by the Player Association, and there will be negotiations as to how to strike some kind of a balance between protocols and the risk of the COVID-19 blue team agenda-driven alleged pandemic and players' desire for some sense of normality. Now, Manfred says limited fan capacity in the playoffs is going to be an option. He says, or that's according to CBS Sports, although Major League Baseball is yet to finalize reported plans for postseason bubbles in California and Texas, Rob Manfred is already pondering the idea of fans back in the seats for most meaningful playoff games, which is a bunch of nonsense. Now, because of the ongoing agenda-driven COVID-19 pandemic, fans have not been permitted to attend any regular season games or dates, whatever. But Manfred is optimistic that changes by the LCS World Series are going to happen. Now, as The Athletic noted, while speaking remotely to Hofstra, the Hofstra Business School, just a couple of days ago, in fact, just yesterday, Manfred said the following, quote, "I'm hopeful that the World Series and the LCS will have limited fan capacity. I think it's important for us to start back down the road. Obviously, it'll be limited numbers, socially distanced, protection provided by the fans in terms of temperature checks and the like, kind of pods that you saw in some of the NFL games. We'd probably use some sort of a theory like that, et cetera, close quote." My point to you in this, all of this, Eli, is look, if it's good enough for football, how come it's not good enough for baseball?
First of all, COVID-19 is not agenda-driven. And
so you say, and that's okay.
But it's not. The three leads, the NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, we'll include them too, MLS if you want to, they can play. They can all play safely. But can you play with fans? No, it's not safe. And even if you do, you have to make sure they have their mask on the whole game.
How could they play with a mask on when it takes away their oxygen intake?
No, I'm talking about the fans.
Oh, I'm just saying even the games. All right. Okay. So because you had mentioned something about players in the high school thing, but let's stick to the subject. Go ahead. My fault.
But in college sports, that's the huge discussion right now. For the most part, you cannot play college sports until you have daily rapid testing, because we have seen so many games be postponed. Army BYU got postponed. Virginia Tech, Virginia got postponed. Last week, Baylor, Louisiana Tech got postponed. There are so many games that had to. Oklahoma State, Tulsa got postponed last week. And it is going to be so difficult to play a season where half of your games are postponed.
Eli, let me ask you this in our last minute.
It's only going to increase from here.
Okay, let me ask you this in our last minute. If this is 100% legitimate, why don't we shut all sports down, fix the problem, and then go ahead and play next season? What do you think about that real quick?
It's not agenda-driven. There's a real problem out there.
Okay, answer my question, though.
The discussion they're looking at is, can we find a way in the professional sports to not have cases? The NBA and the NFL, NHL have all done it. The MLB, if they do a postseason bubble, they will be able to do it.
Okay.
That is how you play sports, and that is how you do it safely.
I appreciate your input. Of course, as always, thanks for joining us here on the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, signing off from downtown Chicago on the Riverwalk. We'll see you next time right here on your favorite station. Until then, so long, everyone.
So, you want to be in show business. Do people tell you that you're really funny, you have a great personality, and you should have your own talk show? Many of us have been told that, but we don't know how to get started. It's easier than you think. Let the pros at Cali Vegas give you a free talent evaluation. Call 949-445-1119 and learn how quickly you can create, produce, and host your very own talk show. Imagine not having to sit in traffic every day, commuting back and forth to the same old boring job. Get started in television or radio today with your free talent evaluation from Cali Vegas. Call 949-445-1119 or visit them online at calivegas.com. Make your dream come true today and create your new career and learn how to become a television or radio star with the help of Cali Vegas. 949-445-1119. Call now.